I'm here with the writer and director of Huda'S Salon, Hany Abu-Assad. Hany, welcome. Thank you so much for bringing your new film to the festival.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm honored. I played always my movies at Toronto Film Festival. I feel home.
Oh, that's so good. And you're at home now. You're back in Palestine. Is that right?
Yes. Just arrived 2 days ago.
Okay. I want to begin talking about the film by asking you about this world that you show us in Huda'S Salon, which is really a society that's been poisoned by betrayal and intrigue and people kind of working against each other as a result of occupation. How much of what we see in this fictional film that you wrote and directed is actually drawn from fact?
Well, the basic is a real story. The Secret Service used to have these salons in order to recruit vulnerable girls for working against their own society. So this is all documented, it's true, but let's say the characters are taking from life, but not from that specific events, in order to make it, more accessible for, audience outside of Palestine. So I think it's a 100% fiction and 100% documentary.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. You really give both Reem and Huda, but maybe also Hassan to a degree, the interrogator in the film, you give them some very difficult choices to make. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about these moral dilemmas that your characters are facing and how that reflects just the conditions they're living in.
Well, I think I should start with how this project came to life. Yes, I know the story. The real story happened. So I have it in my mind, but also I want to explore the connection between contradiction. If there is no evil, what does it mean good in our life? If there is no betray, what does it mean trust? So actually, all these contradictions can't exist without one another. And actually, everybody can become its own opposite with the right circumstances. So I really want to explore that idea of contradiction between trust and betray, where these two contradiction can meet in one point and they become almost identical. So yes, I took from real life all these stories, but also I am exploring a human conflict that we are carrying all over. So a big questions like who are we and what defined us? Our, let's say, genes or our action. So in this sense, yes, it's a real story. It tells what's going on in my society under occupation, but also critical towards that society, because yes, we know the occupation is very bad, but what is our role in that? How can we avoid occupation, and how can we cure our sickness? Because let's say the authorities, they are misusing our sickness in order to oppress us. But then where is our responsibility to cure ourselves in order to not to let the occupier oppressing us?
It's one of the things I found most powerful in your film is that, there are external conditions that your characters are dealing with, but there's also what's going on in their own hearts and their own minds, and how there is a kind of a oppression of the self that we were probably all victim to given the right circumstances. And I guess as you were writing this story based on real events, what were you thinking in terms of how you wanted to explore what it meant for Palestinians to begin imposing some of those restrictions on themselves?
No, I truly hope that through this movie, I can evoke discussion. in our own society, like a healthy discussion, because there is two kind of discussions. Unhealthy, where you come to the conclusion that you are inferior and you can't do anything, and a healthy discussion that you can decide that you take your own responsibility. So I truly hope by this movie I can evoke healthy discussion where people can realize that they are more responsible than they think they are. Because it's very easy to blame, the big system, or to blame, the politics. But it's also, I think, liberating when you realize you have more power in your hands than you think, by just thinking about the problems, by just having a mind that think. And the moment you have a mind that think, you become so powerful. No oppression can touch you if you are really a free man. And this is what I hope with this movie, to evoke discussion, to become more free in your thinking.
In order to really make that kind of theme work, you really need actors who can show that duality, who can show the inner conflict as it's happening. I wonder if you can talk a little bit about casting, especially your main roles. You have Maisa Abd Elhadi as Reem, you have Manal Awad as Huda, and Ali Suleiman as Hassan. What did you need from each of these actors in those roles?
It's so funny. When I start writing these ideas, I immediately had them, the three, in my mind. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, I don't know, but I had them. Why? I think you need a very brave woman like Maisa Abd Elhadi, very brave actress, to dare to be emotionally naked, but also physically naked. It's not easy for our, you need a huge courage to be emotionally naked in this movie. So I thought, Maisa, I believe it's one of the honest actresses in our region. She really dared to be emotionally naked. So Maisa was in my mind because I couldn't think of other actresses that could be so brave. Manal Awad, I really wanted somebody to. Manal is a huge star in Palestine as a comedy, setup comedy. Like, she's a huge star. I think from all of us, she's the biggest star in Palestine. When she walks in the street, everybody stops her. She's a star in a sitcom, and she's a comedian, yes? I felt like if I will take a comedian like her, and I know she can do also drama. So I thought if I will put her in this kind of trap situation, she will surprise everybody. Because people want to have her like being funny, but she's in a very unfunny situation.
Yes,
but meanwhile, she can still have her humor. This gave the character a dimension that I really love. Ali Suleiman, I start with Ali Suleiman working in Paradise Now. So, and I always want to work with him again. And this is the first time since Paradise Now, 15 years ago, that I work with Ali again. Always when I see him in every movie I see him, I feel like, oh my God, this actor is amazing. I need to find something for him. And I think because he can be, like, he can be both this very charming guy, but he can also be very mean. Felt it will give again Hassan this duality that I am seeking in the character. So this is the story of the three actors that came together, first in my mind, and later in real location, and I was so happy to see them on screen, let's say.
Yeah, they're wonderful, and in the interrogation scenes, there's really something interesting going on, because you're right, Ali Suleiman has this kind of seductive quality to him, and he's in a position of power, but he's also kind of playing a little bit. And it really gives an interesting dimension. to the performance. I'm just curious, when you shot this film, where you shot it, were the conditions, what were the conditions like to shoot a film in Palestine now?
Already we had so many problems, but also the COVID.
Yeah.
It was like we start shooting and suddenly, like slowly, like every day you will get the news like, the numbers are getting higher. People getting in panic. We are filming, yes. So in the middle of the shoot, they really, the authority said to everybody, go home. You are not allowed to be nowhere. And suddenly we had to stop shooting. Then 6 months later, we had to restart again, but under the fear that might somebody get sick, yes? Mm-hmm. So you have this, as a director, always you are under pressure of making the good decisions, because you have to make 1,000 decisions a day, and always you are worried. Did I do the right decision? Is this actor getting, did I get the maximum from this actor? Mm-hmm. Is this color right? Is this camera movement good? The lens, you are so under pressure of all your decisions. But also you have as Palestinian under the pressure of of the soldiers, of the authorities. Mm-hmm. But to have also the pressure of COVID, that somebody might get sick, and you might be the reason that they got sick because you need to make this movie. It is a nightmare. Wow. I believe I also think that there is always a good side of this. So, but I don't give me this good side. Please let this virus go away. It's killing us.
Did you have this project already ready to go when COVID started, or was it a project you conceived under COVID because you knew that you could work with a limited set of sets and locations and characters?
No. This was nothing to do. I started to hear about COVID when I was in pre-production.
Okay.
It was like the concept of 2 major locations, 3 characters, and almost every scene shot in one shot. Mm. It was a cinematic concept, because I really want to explore I don't want to make the same movie all the time. Yes, I want to explore a different language in cinema. So I decided in this movie I want to experience the subjective and objective, let's say, style. Mm-hmm. So objective style is when you allow the audience to be emotionally involved with the characters. And the objective, that you take a distance and you just an observer. So I realized, what if I try to do both in one scene? So if you do the whole scene in one shot, so you are stuck with the characters in time and place. In this sense, you are subjective, but also you are objective. You don't, because there is no cutting. You don't allow the audience to feel with the characters at the right moment of emotion, of their emotion. You are an observer, or one of the characters who are observing. So I really want to do this, and it's an experience. I hope it works, that you are both in the same time objective and subjective. Mm-hmm. So this was, and also I want to experience like how can I make from 2 major locations a dynamic situation, because cinema is dynamic. You are moving from the one place to the another place. This is let's say the major factor in cinema is the dynamic of cinema. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I want to create dynamics from just 2 locations, and the dynamics between will be the tension between the 2 worlds. And also the cinematic connection will be just the picture, the Polaroid pictures going from this world to the other world.
Right.
So, and also, I also realized that I can create this, let's say, tension between the two worlds by making Reem as if she is the flashback of Huda. And Huda is the flash forward of Reem.
Right.
And this is very cinematic. Yes, it's two location, but you feel like you are changing not just up and down, but you are changing time.
In time as well. Yes.
Reem is, but in actual time. Yes, Reem is actually what happens to Huda 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So with this, it was already a concept, but yes, this concept helped us to shoot the movie in 16 days.
Wow.
Which is we avoid as much as possible COVID problems. But it was already there, not because of the COVID. I did that just because I felt like I want to do something, a new experience that I did not do before.
You mentioned Paradise Now earlier. I think that's when a lot of us got to know your filmmaking first. I remember seeing it, I think, at the Berlin Film Festival, just really so impressed with the kinetic energy and the ability to make something that was like a thriller, an action film, but also with real substance politically and in terms of the ideas. And you've gone on to make so many different kinds of films, including Hollywood films. We had The Mountain Between Us here at Tiff a few years ago. And I wonder how you see the evolution of your own filmmaking, going back to Paradise Now and through the films you've made since. How has your filmmaking changed? How has your language of cinema changed?
I really believe I need to invent myself every time. So The Mountain Between Us was almost $40 million movie. Huda'S Salon is $1 million movie. To change between the two, like it is just a huge experience because human beings can become very lazy and used to big budget spending, and then suddenly you are back to a student movie setting. It's just I can't do the same movie again and again. I need to always make a new adventure. This is my nature.
Thank you. The last thing I want to ask you is about what happens when Huda'S Salon meets its audience. And I'm especially interested in the Palestinian audience. I don't know if you've shown it already, but what are you hoping for or expecting when you show this film to the audience that it's really about?
Well, I show it to friends and family, and I was moved by their emotions because especially Palestinians, they feel the most about what's going on because they almost, by the way, all the let's say the friends and families I show them, they express that they almost went through the same experience in a way, that you feel like you are vulnerable and the authority could explore that. So this experience, it's very, it's a very, very Palestinian experience. So I hope that this will create again a discussion that will put more light into the rights of vulnerable women, because actually this can't happen if the society supports women. But when the society does not support women when they are vulnerable, then they can fall into the trap of the authorities. And this is what I am hoping, that it will be a kind of awakening call to our society, that by supporting the rights of women, equal rights of women, it's supporting your own freedom as whole. So yes, this is what let's say the main, because I sure, like last thing I want to say, yes, we all against occupation, and it's gonna end whatever it happens. But the question is, okay, do you want how you want your society to be more healthy when the occupation ends, or sick? And this is why I am working more on my responsibility towards my society, rather than to, let's say, open a discussion about, yes, the occupation is bad, and sure, it's bad. I mean, I don't want to discuss even that, and it will end. It's there is no discussion about it. It's gonna end. I see you now, and I see that also the occupation will end. There is no endless occupation. This is why it's not a discussion for me. The real discussion, how is my responsibility toward my society to try to make it more healthy?
Hany, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me, and then also for bringing Huda'S Salon to the festival. I'm always glad to see a new film from you. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me, and I will be always yours.
Oh, thank you. It's very, very sweet. Thanks so much.
Okay.